What's up guys, in this video you're going to learn how poker messes with your mind. Now from the outside looking in, poker is a simple strategy game. It's all about numbers, computations, strategy, and who plays the best strategy wins. It's all a simple game like that. But anyone who's played poker for any amount of time knows there's a lot that goes on, and there's a lot that goes on internally as you're trying to play this game. Myself, I haven't played poker for 6 years, went through a whole host of mental problems, emotional issues that came just from playing this card game. Now, having worked with hundreds of players around the world, I could see that I was not alone, and that most players, if not all players, struggle throughout their careers to deal with things that come from playing poker. So it's coming to question, what's going on? Like, why do we have so many problems just from playing a simple card game? What is the root of these problems? All right, if you look at Buddhist philosophy, they always ask, what's the root? What's the root cause? Rather than the tree or the branches, the external things on the end, what's the root cause? So when it comes to poker, it got me asking the question, what is the root cause? And a few days ago, I was rereading the book called The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. His famous book is The Power of Now, which some of you guys will be familiar with. In this book, he covered a concept which I thought was really good to apply to poker and to share with you guys today. All right, so I'm going to talk about that concept, and then we're going to go into some strategies, 3 strategies we can use in order to best deal with the poker landscape. All right, so he talked about uncertainty. All right, and he said when we can't handle uncertainty, it causes fear. And that was like a real nail on the head for me when I thought about poker. Uncertainty is netted into the fabric, all right? The fabric of poker is all about uncertainty. You could argue that it's netted into the fabric of life, that we don't really know what's going to come next. There's uncertainty everywhere. But poker is really, really compounded, all right? It's compounded in 3 areas. First of all, in the short term. By short term, I mean hand to hand, flop to flop, run out to run out, all right? We don't know what's going to come next. Are we going to win? Are we going to lose? We also don't know in the very short term, is my strategy working? Am I good right now? Am I beating my opponent, or is my opponent exploiting me? The data we're getting back in terms of feedback from results is not accurate. It might as well be flipping coins. It might as well be monkeys pressing keys on random numbers. It's not telling us information. Did I play my hand correctly in terms of the optimal strategy, or did I make a mistake? We don't know that, like in the hand-to-hand moments, unless you got a real strong confidence in your ability in that moment. So we end up with uncertainty right in the very moment. What's going to happen next? Am I going to win? Am I playing well? All right, so that's the first element of uncertainty we deal with. The second element is what we call midterm, like a midterm uncertainty. And that is, am I going to have a winning session? Am I going to make money this week? Am I going to make money this month? Especially if you're a full-time player and your livelihood is poker, all right? There's a lot of pressure to make money. And a lot of us work either in weeks or months, all right? Some players have a very clear in their mind, I want to have a profitable month. Other players are more short-term and they want a profitable day or a profitable week. But we're human. We want to obviously make profits for what we're doing. We want to be able to fund our lives and support ourselves as well as pursue things on a higher level. We want to be rewarded for our efforts. So in the midterm, there's a lot of uncertainty. Are my results going to be good this week, this month? Am I going to be on a bad bit of variance? I'm going to massive downswing and end up in the hole this month? Or am I going to go on a heater and have a massive profitable month? We don't know. So we've got this midterm profitability around our results, like what's going to happen? All right, that leaves this like feeling of, I never know where I'm at financially. I never know if I'm going to have a comfortable month or I'm going to be struggling a bit. All right, so that's the second one. And the third component is what I call like the long-term uncertainty. And the long-term uncertainty is kind of in 2 avenues. One is, am I going to be good enough to beat these games in like say a year from now or 2 years from now? Will I have the skill level? Will I have the motivation? Will I be able to still beat the games? As you guys know, poker moves fast. The markets move fast. There's so many learning tools, so many stables, so many solvers. It feels like everyone's getting better quick, right? And sometimes we can almost like trick ourselves into thinking that, but it is an improving market and everyone's getting better over time. So you could ask yourself, am I going to be able to keep up? Will I be able to constantly stay ahead? Or if I'm not ahead already, will I be able to get ahead over the next year or so? That's the one long-term concern. The second one is, will the game still be profitable? Will the game still be profitable in a year, 2 years from now? So you getting better, you control that one at least to some degree, to most of the degrees. The game's been profitable. Are they going to be? Who knows? Who knows what sites will be available? Who knows what games are available? Any of you guys playing live in the past few years have realized obviously with the pandemic, like how that can be disrupted like overnight. Obviously online games can change like crazy quick with rakeback deals and leaderboards and stuff. So you've got to really worry in a way of, am I going to be able to make a living from this game long term? So we've got these three kind of different timestamps of uncertainty. Very short term in terms of in the moment, the variance of the decisions you're making, and are you going to win or lose? We've got results in the kind of midterm, where my profitability is going to be. Am I going to have money coming in or out this month? And then we've got long term. Is this going to be a stable career for me going forward? Is the game's going to be there, and am I going to be able to beat them? All right. So going back to what Eckhart Tolle said, he said, uncertainty that we can't handle leads to fear. All right. So if we can't handle it, so the uncertainty's there. All right. Unfortunately for you guys watching this video, like, the uncertainty is not going to go away. We're going to sprinkle some magic dust and the uncertainty goes, it's there, all right? So the fear that we have, the internal conflict that we often have as poker players is rooted in fear. And it's fear that I can't handle the uncertainty. I can't handle the unknowns. I can't handle what's going to happen, all right? And when we can't handle it, fear is the ego having a defense mechanism. All right, so the ego is our construct that tries to almost like protect the weak part of ourselves, and it creates a defense mechanism, which is fear. All right, and fear is us trying to resist what's happening. We're trying to go, well, the mind basically goes into crazy mode trying to fix the problem. If we fear something, the mind goes, oh, this is scary. How do we solve it? All right, but all that's really happening is you're resisting reality. You're resisting what's happening because, like I said, uncertainty is it's there. Right, we can't get rid of the uncertainty, so we're resisting it. And the second thing is we're not letting the moment pass by. All right, we're not surrendering to the moment, as like Eckhart Tolle would call it. All right, so we need to understand that the reason we're having problems is because uncertainty is leading to fear because we can't handle it. All right, so if I've done nothing else in this video, I've showed you the root of your problems is uncertainty, and you could say the deeper root is fear. All right, so with that as the pretense, and with you guys knowing, if you stop and reflect on most of the problems you have, you'll see they're rooted in these fears. They're rooted in this uncertainty, and you're not being able to handle uncertainty. All right, and as a result, we're having problems. All right, so now we need to start thinking about, okay, well, what can we do? All right, if I can't change uncertainty, how can I best deal with uncertainty in a better way? All right, and in his book The New Earth, Eckhart Tolle talks about 3 ways for us to live in a way that allows for less uncertainty, or not less uncertainty, but it allows us to embrace life. All right, or allows us to handle any obstacles life throws our way. All right, so the first thing, the first tool, the first approach you guys can be using in the face of uncertainty is acceptance. All right, and acceptance, I've probably used this in many videos because it's one of those core kind of mindsets that you need to be able to install. Accepting is just about embracing reality as it is. All right, so it's almost like going, I don't know, but that's okay. It's okay not knowing. So for example, in the short term, how do you deal with short-term uncertainty through acceptance? You accept that anything can happen, that you're not going to know if you're going to win or lose each hand, each session. You also accept that you're not going to know if your strategy is beating this opponent's strategy, if you played your hands 100% right. So you've got to embrace the fact that, wait a second, I don't know everything, and I'm okay with that. I don't know how things are going to go. Oh, it feels a bit scary, but I'm okay with that. It's just kind of playing on the edges where you're like, I don't know, I don't like that feeling, but I'm going to learn to be okay with that. And what happens when you can't, if you can't be okay with that, the mind goes, oh, I don't like this, I need to fix it. All right, that's when the fear starts. You start running around, anxiety starts, stress starts, all the kind of mindset issues that evolve because you couldn't accept what happens. All right, so it's accepting the unknowns and embracing it. And it's a feeling, right? So what I've learned to do in my life is embrace the feeling of not knowing. All right, so uncertainty is like, I do not know what's going to happen. The mind goes, we can't have uncertainty. Let's solve that problem. It's trying to protect the ego, but you can internally go, well, I don't know, and I'm okay not knowing. All right, at first that might seem a bit of an alien feeling to some of you guys, and be like, how could I feel comfortable not knowing? Because your mind is so active in those moments. But if you just sit still, with the fact that I don't know, but I'm okay not knowing, you can get this stillness. All right, and that's the level of acceptance. All right, so first of all, play around with the level of acceptance and try to just ask yourself, why can't I accept this? Or ask yourself, can I accept this moment? Can I accept that I've lost? Can I accept not knowing? And if as soon as the answer says yes, as soon as you tick that box of acceptance, it lowers that fear, all right? And it lowers intensity. All right, the second thing we can do to kind of counter uncertainty is learn to cultivate enjoyment, all right? Now, Eckhart Tolle talks about enjoyment being in the moment, all right? So rather than like being like something we get as the end result, being in the present moment, being fully immersed in what you're doing is what brings enjoyment. All right, and I can picture this in many parts of my own life. When I'm fully engaged, when I'm fully involved in what I'm doing, it brings enjoyment. All right, so all the uncertainty and all the doubt of the mind go away when you fully get immersed in what you're doing. All right, so when you're playing poker, if you're fully playing poker and you're fully in the game, in the strategy, trying to think about stuff, trying to play the highest level, in that flow-like state, it almost doesn't matter what's happening results-wise, because the experience itself is taking up your consciousness, and as a result, it brings enjoyment. All right, even if you're struggling with results-wise. Same when you're studying, you're trying to learn, you're trying to improve. If you're fully immersed in the moment, that's going to bring this enjoyment. All right, so anytime you're feeling that you're basically feeling overwhelmed, you feel any fears, channel your attention into something. All right, go fully into the moment. Whatever moment's in front of you. If you're playing poker, double down on your focus and really zone in. If you're doing something else, double down. All right, and when we're in the present moment, guess what? Fears can't live there. It's one of those like weird things that you need to remind yourself like 100, 1,000, a million times. There is no fear in the moment. There's no fear in the moment. Fear's in the future. Think about the future state. And fear's in the past. Fear's when you're in your mind. Your consciousness is in your mind, and it's not in the present moment. If your consciousness is in the present moment, there's no fear. There's just the moment. It's just the moment that you're experiencing. All right, give it your all. And what you find is when you can do that more often, the more time you find in the present moment, the more time you spend in the present moment, the better you perform in everything. Whether it's poker, whether it's tennis, whether it's relationships, whether it's learning, whether it's anything, you perform better when you're there. No surprise, right? When you're present in the moment, when your consciousness is there. All right, so once you realize that, you're like, all right, I should train my mind to have my attention in the moment and not my thoughts. All right, always bring it into the moment. All right, so that's the second one, bring in enjoyment to what you do. And the third one, which he talks about, is enthusiasm. Bring enthusiasm to what you do. Now, enthusiasm is very similar to enjoyment, but it's enjoyment in the moment, so it's being very present in the moment, but then there's an added thing he puts on the end, which is you're moving towards a goal, a purpose, an objective. All right, so it's like enjoyment, it's like pursuing the moment with an end goal in mind. All right, and ideally those end goals, you want to have them that are uplifting, fulfilling to you, and often they involve other people. Like you're trying to become a better version of yourself, say as a poker player, so you can make money, so you can have a better life for you and your family. As soon as you extend your awareness, your thoughts, your ideas past yourself in your own individual situation, it creates more enthusiasm. All right, so enthusiasm is having a purpose. The ultimate enthusiasm is to feel like the actions you're taking are on a purpose towards a very, very meaningful objective for yourself. Right, so to cultivate enthusiasm, we can do it on the big scale and have like this kind of life vision, almost like a vision board that we're working towards, an ideal version of ourselves and life that we're pushing towards. That's one way you can cultivate it, which I think everyone should be working towards. And then you've got the day-to-day enthusiasm, because this session, this moment, this hand, this study session is moving me towards my goals. All right, so it's like having the bigger picture and in the short term, and realizing I'm doing this for a reason. And the bigger the reason, the more enthusiastic you'll be. All right, this sparks the brain to pay attention. So acceptance is almost like the things happens and I deal with it. So the first thing you learn is acceptance. That's almost like shit happens, now what? All right, shit is going to happen, now what? All right, being able to deal with those things. Enjoyment is the ability to actually almost protect yourself from the mind going to those places, because you're so immersed in what you're doing that the feelings of enjoyment come and you haven't got time for the mind to be fearful or uncertain. One of the cures for fear is to immerse yourself in what you're doing. All right, immerse yourself in the activity you're doing. And then enthusiasm has the same kind of mechanisms. It's basically you're so immersed in what you're doing, you don't have time to be uncertain. You don't have time to fear because you're enthusiastically pursuing what you're doing. All right, so if you link those three together, acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm, that's the magic. All right, that's when you can really stop uncertainty. You can stop fear. You can stop anxiety, stress, because one of those three things you're not doing. All right, if you could look at it, certain situations, all you can do is accept it. All right, let's say you're on a downswing. The best thing you can probably do there is accept it. But let's say you're in a poker session and you're struggling to focus and you get annoyed because things aren't going your way. You can accept that things aren't going your way, or you can start enjoying it more by being more present. Or you can turn on enthusiasm by linking what you're doing to your bigger outcomes. All right, so you've got different tools that we can use for different situations. But as a poker player, like I've talked about throughout this, uncertainty is your obstacle. Uncertainty that leads to fear is the root of all your problems, right? It's the root of everything. So hopefully you've learned about why you have problems as a poker player, but also you've got 3 tools now to experiment with. So as you go away from this video, and when you go into your lives, I want you to start using these 3 tools. I want you to start using them in different situations and seeing how effective they are. See if they stop that feeling of fear, uncertainty. See if they deactivate the mind a little bit and get you more present and more engaged in what you're doing. If they do, amazing. Keep doing them and your life becomes better and you're able to manage the poker environment in a much better way. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash the like button before you go. Also, there's a free quiz in the description if you haven't taken that already, which will tell you what level your mindset is currently at and also give some tips on how to take it from the level you're at to the next level. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Plenty more coming from me very soon.